Creativity can be a smile. It can be the freedom of impulse, the idea inspiration. And so I don't use creativity in my work. Rather, I use tools to open the flow of creativity and allow creativity to be the essence that I move in so that it's always there with me rather than something that's okay. I need to be creative now. I need to,
Hello and welcome to Flowering Creativity. This is the podcast where we explore the lives of creative people and provide practical tips for helping you to achieve and sustain your creative lifestyle and goals. Today, I have Georgiana Johnson, who is an energy medicine teacher, speaker, and practitioner specializing in assisting people with coming into the fullness of their truth. Her conscious self-practice is now 28 years and professional practice of 21 years. Her company, Chi Consciousness, is dedicated to sharing awareness of how to live life filled with vibrancy, compassion, and creativity. Georgiana, you have inspired me. You've taught me so much throughout the years, and you're the first person I've had on to the podcast that I have known personally now for, was it almost 10 years now? And I am just so grateful to have you on. Thank you, Georgiana, for joining me on Flowering Creativity.
oh, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
So we're taking a little bit of a turn this month. Now, I've had a lot of musicians on the show. I've had an actress. I've had a teacher musician, some variants, but pretty much Flowering Creativity has had a lot of focus on music because I'm a musician, and most of the people that I network professionally are musicians because I'm in the music business. So this month I have an energy medicine teacher. So why would I have an energy medicine teacher on Flowering Creativity? You're about to find out. So this is from Georgiana's YouTube channel. It's called Grounding in Polarity, Spooning the Feet.
Hi, my name is Georgiana Johnson, and I am an energy medicine practitioner as well as a laughter wellness leader. And I would like to share with you a simple technique to help with grounding. It requires a stainless steel spoon, so if you have one handy, perhaps get that, or you could always get one after you watch the video. So what are we going to do with the spoon? Well, we're going to spoon the bottom of the foot. We'll start with this foot. I like to do it from the heel off my toes, yet any direction works. We could even do large figure eights on the bottom of the foot. This is one of the Eden method techniques. I can do the instep, the heel of the foot, the ball of the foot. And while I do it, I might notice that my shoulders relax a little bit, or I might feel some shifting inside, or just it feels really good to do it. So I'll do both feet for a period of time, maybe 30 seconds, 45, even a minute. There's no timeline that's set as far as how long. Now, why am I doing it? That's a great question. We are electromagnetic beings, and we have polarization towards the sky as well as the earth. Yet at times of high stress, illness, injury, our pulse can get off a little bit or maybe even completely reverse. And the nourishing energies that we bring in from those two sources, sky and earth, won't be able to get in as abundantly as they would if our poles are on. So spooning with the spoon, putting it on the bottom of our feet, helps to bring those poles into alignment. It's great for dancers to help us connect strongly to the earth, to the ground. So as we move through all of our moves, we stay really connected and balanced better than if our poles are off. So my website is qiconsciousness.com, and I'm also on Facebook at Chi Consciousness with Georgiana Johnson, if you'd like to see what events I'm doing online currently. And thank you for watching the video, and I wish you well. Bye now.
This is just a tiny little example here of the type of work that you're doing. I first met you as my first instructor for Reiki, and it really inspired me. And I've continued to study and practice to this day. I'm practicing right now as I'm grounding. The first moments that I was bringing the awareness of the energy of Reiki, of the Holy Spirit, those were the moments where, I started to realize that so much more was possible in my life. So do you want to talk a little bit about your work and how you use creativity in your work, please?
You introduced my work. Thank you. And thanks for playing that video. It's fun to watch me spoon my feet. My work is as an energy medicine speaker, teacher, and therapist, and I'm based in Florida. And energy is the language of our body. And so we are working with that, listening to that language and working with the energy in order to support balance, to support vibrancy. And I just absolutely adore it. I am so glad that I learned about it when I did and have continued the path of exploring it and sharing it with others. And how do I use creativity in my work? Well, I actually went and looked up the definition for creativity. And one that I found is the use of the imagination or original ideas, especially in the production of an artistic work. And so imagination, original ideas, I'm in flow with that. Artistic work, that always makes me a little nervous because I'm one of those people who draw stick figures. I mean, that is as advanced as I ever got with art. My whole immediate family, sisters and parents, are so creative. They can draw and paint and sculpt and make clothing and craft. And my dad, amazing things that he would create. But I didn't inherit any of that energy. I inherited it in a different way, though, I realized over time. So here's another idea around creativity, defined as the tendency to generate or recognize ideas, alternatives, or possibilities that may be useful in solving problems, communicating with others, and entertaining ourselves as well as others. And I think artistic, the drawing and sculpting and painting, falls into that. Entertainment is something for us to, it's not limited to that, but falls into that, something for people to enjoy. Mm-hmm. Creativity can be a smile. It can be the freedom of impulse, the idea inspiration. And so I don't use creativity in my work. Rather, I use tools to open the flow of creativity and allow creativity to be the essence that I move in, so that it's always there with me, rather than something that's, okay, I need to be creative now. I need to, get on it and come up with ideas about how this happens. Instead, when I wake in the morning, I allow myself to quickly review my day and be inspired by, oh, today's the day that I will be on my first podcast, or today I'm seeing this person or that person, or today I have the ability to do whatever I want. What do I want to do? And to allow that energy, creative, original idea generation, imagination, possibilities, to flow naturally, organically.
It's beautiful. And one of the things that I really admire about you is that, from the first time I met you, you've been constantly seeking, that deeper level. That you told me in the first class, I know it has to be more simple than this. And then later, you introduced me to, more beautiful simplicity. And you still continue to keep going and learning more and growing and sharing. And I just find it so beautiful. So please continue, please. So now we need to shift gears. Let's talk about this pandemic. So, the pandemic really did a number on me as far as what I thought I was supposed to be doing. And it really had me reverse course and change my business around completely. So how has this pandemic affected your life and your creativity?
Mhm. I see the time of the pandemic, over the past year. Things are changing now in Florida. There's a lot that's opening up and people are becoming more active. I'm getting lots of inquiries now, whereas it's been really quiet over the past year. So things are changing and shifting with it. But in the last year, I sort of look at it like you've heard of weekend or week long silent retreats, where the goal is for someone to go into the retreat and be quiet, no technology, no speaking with other people. They might join together for meal preparation and sit together for meals, but there's a lot of meditation, quiet time, and the idea being for people to go inside and begin to connect with what is going on inside and get comfortable with it, or at least attempt to get comfortable with it. And so I
Mm-hmm.
see the pandemic as an extended weekend silent retreat, an opportunity really to explore that inner part of ourselves. So many people were, homebound for whatever reasons, and change of work environment, and just that time for me allowed for accelerated growth, to spend more time with the tools that I work with to free resistances and limitations in my energy patterns, whether they're mental, emotional, physical, and really allow expression to come forward, to open that up in all the ways that it will, including freeing my attention from mental conditioning. And just really, it's exciting because I'm seeing the other side of that effort now, the other side of that time over the past year coming forward as I come back in person with a lot more people. Just the transformation that I know started here and how I'm able to offer in even a deeper way as I do my session work with other people. So it's exciting. It's really, really exciting. And how has it affected my life? I'd say at this point, another aspect of that would be that I really allow the generation of ideas, whether they're original or not. Maybe they're original to me, but the generation of ideas and possibilities to flow untethered, just to let them go. And yet, as they do, I recognize there's a point where I begin to feel overwhelmed. It's like so many ideas. How can I accomplish all of this? Am I supposed to? Where do I go next with this? How do I achieve it? So I have determined that I am going to only select the ones that feel right. Of course, they have to feel right, but also really inspire fun. Really inspire fun. Because otherwise, I guess I'm at a point where I'm going to say, why? Why do it? Why do it if it's not fun, enjoyable?
Yeah, this pandemic has been a period where, you know, if for a lot of people anyway, it was really, really, really easy to get depressed. You know, not having the usual social outlets. Um, not having just with everything being so slow and so yin. Our in America at least our society is out of balance. It's just so young that like a lot of people resisted. Slowing down and going inwards and um, I focused, on creating stuff online and trying to get used to, computers. And now, this year, starting in March, at the end of March, I started streaming live, and that's like the last thing that I personally need to get comfortable with. You were talking about getting comfortable with yourself,
Yeah.
right? And as a performer, I've been comfortable in front of a crowd since I was a little kid. But you put this little box with all these buttons and chances to like have drivers be messed up and oh we can't see you. What's going on? I got a black screen. Like, that extra thing. Because I'm not a computer expert. I'm trying. So I understand. And so one of the things I was trying to do was trying to learn during this pandemic time, right? Like watching a lot of videos and hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? I learned video editing, and I mean I'm not great at it, but I mean I'm passable at it now. And so one of the things that I've been trying to do, to stay balanced is, start my day in a way, or even if I can't start my day, at least in the middle of the day, take a break and go outside and get some exercise. Even if it's just walking to the store. I have a grocery store that's about a half a mile away, not even. So I can walk there and, get a backpack full of stuff and walk back and, just some fresh air. I need to do that every single day. That's my goal. I didn't get a chance to get out yet this morning, but I will be when we're done because I'm already desiring that smell of that fresh air. Do you have a daily routine? And if so, how do you say it helps you in your creative work?
I do have a daily routine, and it begins, I think I already mentioned, it begins begins with waking with gratitude. I go to sleep with gratitude as well. And then in the morning, a quick review of my day and feeling that inspiration, because I can get really cozy in bed. And sometimes it's like, I wake rather early and get up and begin. So that inspiration to rise from that comfort and begin. And yes, I'm a yin person and enjoy the yin time. So I did a lot of the same as you, learning externally as well as internally, and had the time to really solidify that daily routine, adjust it some for the time of the pandemic. But it includes, after I wake up, I go and I take care of my 10,000 cats.
10,000 cats.
Not really, not that many. And then I spend 10 minutes, I'll lay down and do 10 minutes of craniosacral usually to begin adjusting areas of my physical form that feel like they might be a little tight or uncomfortable. And then morning tea followed by some yoga, as well as my morning spiritual practice. Then it unfolds in a variety of ways. If I have early appointments, of course, that will begin the day. I do include my daily energy routine from the Eden Energy Method.
One
I
you have a
also,
video about on your channel?
I do, thanks, yes.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
there's
try to
lots.
we'll put a card up so people can find it.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, there's several videos out for the daily energy routine. That is something I do, as well as consciousness. I do some EFT tapping. I do a variety of things to align myself fully with where I am on each day and to continue to move forward in the direction that I choose to do.
Right
How
on.
does it help
Hey,
me in work?
mhm.
It keeps my energy flowing. It keeps that energy flowing so that that creativity is always there. If something goes wrong, I often laugh and say, okay, well, here's an idea, and here's an idea about how to resolve that. And there's that creative flow. It isn't necessarily that creation of something like a video or, creating my next class that I'm going to offer, but it's the ability to have that free flow coming so often. I won't say 100% of the time, I'm not perfect at it, but so often that it comes, oh, okay. Or the reminder that flows in that really that isn't an issue right now. You don't have to give any extra mental energy devoted to it. We can handle that, a couple hours from now or whatever it might be. And for me, I see all of that as this generative, regenerative, creative force.
You've helped me so much, especially with grounding. That's why I think that spooning the feet video was perfect because it's so simple. I mean, who doesn't have a spoon? Who doesn't
Right,
have 30 seconds per foot or
right,
whatever?
right.
And the difference that it makes, I mean, it's worth trying. Like, seriously, like, you can be a skeptic going into it, but if you pay attention, you really, really, really feel your body while you're doing it and after you're finished with it, if you really breathe and feel, you'll feel the shift. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Yes, yeah. It's another technique that I learned from the Eden method, and it really is good. It helps with sleep, it helps to ground us. It is great with kids because it's really novel to put a spoon on our feet and it calms us, it calms children. It's great to do right before bed. So yeah, I love it too.
Definitely. So, what challenges have you faced that have disrupted your creative flow?
Right, sure. So I can definitely say that I flow more easily and more consistently now than I have in years previous. It's been a journey to get to where I am currently, and stress, of course, is a big one. Getting up in the head, getting too intense in my mind is also definitely interrupts that flow, the essence of creative energy moving around me all the time. Because then I have these barriers, these blocks, these resistances. I have to do it all myself. I have to know every little detail before I can make a move. I'm not really sure if that feels right to me, and how can I feel when I'm in my head so much. So one way that I really love to begin my movement when I realize I've gotten a little up here is to clear the
Mhm.
mind, use a tool, a technique. And there's so many ways, going for a walk outside, going for a jog, or perhaps for someone else, it's doing some yoga or singing or dancing, taking, 30 seconds to put on a favorite song and just move the body. But to clear the mind, to get some of that out and then to get into the body.
Yeah, the body awareness. Because when we're constantly putting our awareness all on our mind, or mostly on our mind,
Yeah.
um, we're not in a creative state because well, we're not in balance. It's that magic of half mind and half body, but it's tricky because the mind is so powerful that half mind it's basically resting.
It is. It's a wonderful part of us, the mind. And I find now that it responds mostly to my feeling nature, to what I'm sensing and aware of inside. And it responds with the response of whatever it happens to be. And there are times when that's not true. It needs to be a little more engaged. But it's an interesting switch, and I really enjoy it.
So for me, one of the things that I've really had to work on is, you know, commitment through excuses, because I've had a lot of my creative projects, would I would get a certain amount of rejection, and then after that point, the excuses would take over, and I wouldn't really follow through, and that's something that I've really been getting over in the last couple of years because especially with the pandemic, like I can't just stop. You know what I mean? I have to keep going. I have to keep building because everything was destroyed, and so it's like it was actually a really good motivator. So how do you deal with excuses on a daily basis?
Okay. So excuses. Yeah. So mine or others, or is that the same thing? Right. So excuses often serve by stopping me. And when I notice an excuse at this point, I do two of those steps I already mentioned to clear the mind and get into my body and to listen, to be there, to become aware of me inside and ask if I want to be that excuse or be different from that excuse. And then I respond with love to what I hear. So if I hear, yeah, you're afraid, stop, then I'll love that. I'll say, okay, I'll stop for a while. Or if I hear, no, that's an excuse, or that's a feeling that's limiting me, and I would choose not to be that way, then I'll say, well, what can I do to support movement, to support freeing that excuse or that feeling or that thought limitation? What can I do? And take a little bit of time to do that, or a lot of bit of time. It all depends. So that I can shift and then repeat. Get out of the head, get in the body, listen inside, ask, respond with love, repeat.
Very good. This is sort of related. To the challenges and the excuses. And you already mentioned this word, stress. So how do you manage your stress before and since the pandemic? And how do these techniques differ?
Right. Yeah. Um, I don't know that it really differs. I still feel that the time of the pandemic gave me an opportunity to become even better friends with the idea of stress. And, stress is an inside relationship. It's what stresses me may not stress you, and vice versa. So, so it's really dependent on what I'm feeling stress about, freeing that energy. I'm beginning to feel like I keep repeating myself, but this is the way. And for me, it's the way. It may not be the way for everyone. And the tools that I use to do this may not be the tools for everyone, even if someone were to agree, oh yes, get out of the mind, get into the body, listen, and respond with love. So how I might do that would be different for someone else. The challenge for me, and not so much in the last few years, but before that, as I knew I wanted to continue moving deeper into the path that I was walking on, was to apply it on a very consistent basis. That was the challenge. Apply it on a consistent basis. Because it's great for me to say, okay, 10 minutes in the morning and then go off and be stressed the rest of the day. That's easy for me at one point in my life. But to say, okay, this is the way I choose to be, and then go, oh, wait, I'm getting a little stressed. What can I do? And do I continue forward in this moment with the stress, or do I do something about it right now to release that restriction, limitation, hesitation, fear, anger, sorrow, whatever it happens to be, worry? Do I do something now to help shift that, so my vibration, my pattern, my frequency, everything is fuller, more flowing, and more creative?
Like I'm sort of imagining this analogy, right? The physical body, right? Let's talk about your arteries, right? If you get plaque built up in your arteries, right? That's symbolic of stuff, ideas, right, that aren't flowing. They're stuck in there, right? And then ultimately that could lead to a stroke or a heart attack. You could have blockages in your lungs, and then you're unable to breathe. You could have these ideas of physical blockages, and then them being released to create healing. I mean, energy really works exactly the same way. Like the physical model that we look at, it can does that analogy make sense to you? Like, it's the same as the mental energetic ideas, like that. They can get stuck in us, and then that can create mental problems, unhappiness, whatever. And so we want to try to get those ideas to flow out. And even sometimes what I found is maybe my first idea isn't that great, but if it gets me going, and then that leads to 3 or 4 more new ideas, and then that leads to someone suggesting something that I would have never thought of, and then all of a sudden then I do that, and then that leads to another suggestion, and it just kind of spider webs out. But if I had never done that first and got that crappy idea, that little blockage out of the way, if I had just gotten it over with,
Yeah.
right, then I would have never got to point B to C to D to E.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's all just our standing in our own way. We have to take responsibility, each of us, as, the only one that can truly stop us from doing anything. Truly, I mean,
Yeah.
unless we're incarcerated or something. Sorry.
Right. Yes, it's what you said that well. It's the freeing of those. And I'm talking about it more on a mental, emotional level. But yes, there can be body restrictions that develop over time in my belief system. What I'm holding mentally, emotionally, how I allow that to form, and everything is energy. Science agrees, our core, we are energy. So mental, emotional is also energy. And if I hold something tight long enough, it might reflect that way within the body. And so, yes, what I'm suggesting, and as you just said also, is to find ways to release that, to free that energy, because it gives us so much more vibrancy. It gives us more freedom to allow the flow in order to create. So I'm calling it a creative flow, to create whatever it is that one wishes to create.
I mean, even if it's just creating a good mood for the day,
That's
I mean,
right.
that's valuable.
That's
That's
absolutely
incredibly valuable.
so valuable. Yes. Yes. To become, and for me, the path is to become so grounded in that direction that very little rocks me from that place. And again, I'm not there, not perfect, but I'm much further along the path than I ever have been. And for that, I'm very grateful.
Yeah, your energy is just so pleasant. It always has been, but it's gotten more and more and more pleasant every time I've spoken with you. Every
Thank
time I
you.
had the pleasure of being in class with you or practicing with you, you really have just been blossoming, and it's so inspiring.
Thank you. You're so kind.
Well, I'm just trying to call it the way I see it. So, um, let's talk about passion. So sometimes our passion chooses us, and sometimes we choose our passion, if that makes sense. And I think it happens that way, both ways to all of us, one way or another. A quick example would be, I was just always a singer from the time I was a little kid. I just always sang. Like, music came on and I sang along to it. Like, I just did. So I would say that singing kind of chose me, that passion. But then, when I got a little older, the conscious choice of, hey, you want to play an instrument, right? I chose to play the saxophone because I liked it. I liked the sound of it. And then, that became my passion just the same way. But it wasn't like I felt like the saxophone bit me. You know what I mean? Like, singing just kind of just bit me. So how would you say, do you feel you choose your passion, or does your passion choose you, and how?
My passion chooses me. I feel that strongly because I've been someone who I went through high school. I didn't have a strong urge to go to college or to study this in particular or that. I sort of floated without a direction. And that reflected as I went forward. And yet I quickly found something that truly is a passion for me, and that is dance, and became involved with that for several years and then left, went away from it. And then, based on first husband and his views of the world and work, went and completed college with a degree in business. And a
Okay.
minor in computer science. Can you imagine?
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah. I came out as, it took a few years of working after that, but was a programmer analyst and then a project leader in IT. They didn't call it IT at that point, it was DP for data processing. But yeah, so I do have an analytical mind. I can bring that forward as needed, but it wasn't my
Mm-hmm.
passion.
Mm-hmm.
And and then an experience came upon me in 1993, April 2nd. I've always said it's my April Fool's gift from the vine.
Mm-hmm.
And turned my world upside down, inside out. And my first husband and I were separated within a month because, as he said, your light is shining so bright now, and I'm just not going there this time. So we're not really going to be together now. And of course, that was the shift from um, sort of existing in my reality of routine and rut
Mm-hmm.
and moving into a more expanded state of being that led me down the path where you know me today. So that passion was something that I had a friend at that time. She's still my friend, but at that time she said, yeah, you probably, for people who believe in, I call them dimensional lives, because I'm choosing to move away from the idea of past lives, future lives. Instead, they're dimensional lives. She said, you prepared lifetimes for the experience that you had and the shift that you went through at that time. And so, with those two examples, I would say that passion found me, that it
Mm-hmm.
chose, that I may have chosen it pre-life at some point. Probably that's true too for those who,
Mm-hmm.
at least I believe that I can do that. And then it came upon me. So I guess a little of both. Having said that, I guess I did choose it, and then it chose me. Well, there you go, the yin and yang, the balance.
Yeah, I mean, dimensional. That's a neat way to look at it, rather than past and future, because, um, I mean, time is a concept that exists on Earth in this plane, in this dimension. Um, it doesn't work the same way necessarily in other dimensions, right? Because that's like part of like what's going on here. I mean, it might, but like, yeah, it's that's an interesting way to look at it, rather than past and future. Because I mean, who knows? I mean, our ultimate essence could have lived on many different worlds. I mean, Earth might just be like the latest stop or whatever. Who knows?
Right.
But when you're about to do a project, are you the type of person who pre-plans all the little details? Do you just kind of like follow your intuition? Do you have some sort of a hybrid that you've created using these two? How do you approach a new project?
Right. So I would say once upon a time when I was embarking on a project, yes, I would plan it, break it down. Remember that analytical mind could come in and really divide out all the parts of it, and to the point where sometimes I never really embarked because I spent too much time making it perfect before having to know every detail. I believe that was not my authentic self. It was a component of my energy that was out of balance, that strove too much to be perfect, too much to have it exactly be, just the way I wanted it to be. So
Mm-hmm.
now it definitely is more just allow it to unfold, allow myself to be in the moment. And then I will also say that, yes, of course, sometimes there needs to be some planning. I need to know what I'm taking with me to an event or what I need in front of the screen if it's remote. I need to have that organization level. When I offer my classes, I want a flow. I may not follow my outline, but I do want to know what my topic is and what might be good ideas to include in it, what techniques, I suppose to say. So yes, so I do have that, yet so much of what I do is just let's be in the moment. Let's feel into, what's coming to me. Let's trust it and let's respond with love and move forward.
And one thing that's coming into mind is this idea of feeling into it, like especially when I'm starting down a path where I start to feel some unpleasant feelings or whatever. For me personally, what can work, if I can just take a couple of deep breaths and just kind of just really feel the body, like, is it my shoulder hurting? Do I have tension somewhere? Is it my stomach bothering me? Like, what is it? Like, can I localize it? Maybe it's my calf muscle. Who knows? It could, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I can figure out where it is, then I can make some space around it so that it's like it stops the complaining in the head, because I mean that just adds to it and makes it worse. And then once there's a little bit of space around it, then it starts to feel different. Like, not necessarily better, but like just bringing acceptance to it, and then maybe you get into a creative enough state of mind that you could maybe then be freed up to think, okay, how can I improve the situation? Do I have any tools that I can use to remove this discomfort, or get this energy line flowing again, or whatever it is? How do I clear my head? And like you said earlier, all the different tools. I was doing a live stream and I had all these problems, like the volume was wrong, and we got booted out. My guest got booted out of the Zoom call. YouTube literally cut my stream for copyright reasons. I mean, all this stuff happened in the same stream, and my audio drivers were conflicting. Like, I could hear my guest in my headphones, but like the sound was still coming out of my laptop speakers, which is bad because I don't want it coming into my microphone, creating an echo problem. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And I just sat there and I made some space around it while I was letting some audio play for everybody. And I just opened up. And then I was like, I just gotta, as soon as this is over, just bow out gracefully, tell everybody I'm gonna be back, restart my computer, and just start over. And then I did that, and then it was a beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful stream afterwards, But it was like, at first, I was so upset that I couldn't even think. And so I had to just give myself a little bit of time so that I could make some space around it, because the mind was just going and going and going and going, and it just would not give me any relief. And I had to just, okay, I'm breathing now. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
That was a little bit of a tangent, but I feel like it was valuable.
It is valuable. Yes, I really like the way you ground some of the ideas that I'm expressing, put them into everyday occurrence. It's absolutely correct. You rebooted not only your computer, but yourself as well, to help clear out some of this, settle more into your body with the breathing. Beautiful effort. Congratulations.
Sometimes, if we can imagine, it's just like our phone or our computer, just turn it off and turn it back on. A fresh software reload of our brain.
And
minimum of 3 deep breaths.
Right. And to commit to doing that. Put sticky notes around that will remind us, or put an alarm on the phone, or whatever it happens to be. Because the more that we do it, then we train the energy systems of our body to be like that on a consistent basis, rather than to be in that more stress, frazzled, frustrated, worried, sad, hyper state, or whatever it happens to be. Hidden also, some people like to hide. So, so we boot ourselves out of that consistently to create that new habit of being present, being here, and making choices from this moment. Yeah.
So speaking of hiding, I want to make sure that you're not hiding. Georgiana, tell everybody how they can find you online, how they can contact you for a remote session. I just want to give you a little testimonial. I have had several remote sessions of energy medicine with Georgiana, and she is incredible. So do not hesitate to contact her. Go ahead and tell us how they can get a hold of you.
Oh, you are so kind. Well, my website is qiconsciousness.com. QI is pronounced chi. So it's qiconsciousness.com. Also, I'm on Facebook, and you can find my email and phone number via those two methods. On Facebook, it's QI Consciousness with Georgiana Johnson. So yes, I look forward to hearing from anyone. I have multiple levels of interaction with people, from classes that I offer, which are very inexpensive, to private sessions, either in person if someone's in the area, or remote if they're not.
Mm-hmm. And you have a YouTube as well. How can people find you on the tubes?
Oh, I do. YouTube. Thanks. Well, I believe it's QI Consciousness. I'm not even sure what it's listed as, but yeah, Chi Consciousness or Georgiana Johnson.
I think it's the same. I think it's Chi Consciousness with Georgiana Johnson.
That it is. I think that's how I set it up. Sorry, I'm not a big YouTuber yet, but I'm out there.
That's all good. Well, I just wanted to take a second and share everybody. I got my coffee here for all my leapers. I got my Kopi Monokopi right here. I'm going to take my last little sip of my cold brew here, finish it off for you. Make sure you guys take a second. Please like this video, share, subscribe to both of our YouTube channels. We really appreciate it. I'm putting out daily content right now. It's insane. Got live streams. I got react videos. Working on original music and cover songs as well. And I've got a new live stream coming up where I'm going to be live streaming my rock opera for you. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Matthews Music Lesson Studio. We're going to be doing some filming for some bonus content, and you're going to get to hear some more in-depth from Georgiana from this second interview we're just about to do. So make sure you go to Patreon so you can sign up for that. You can also get 10 times voting and requesting power. If you want to have me react to a song, sign up on Patreon. You'll get it quicker. I record in batches, and so it takes a little while to get it out there, right? So you can speed up the process. Also, you can get music lessons from me, MatthewsMusicLessonStudio.com. Sign up for online music lessons, and I'll teach you over the web, just like we're doing right now. You can watch me and interact back. I got a great internet connection, great streaming, and we're going to have some great good times learning about music and songwriting and singing and whatever it is you're interested in. I'll see you next time on Flowering Creativity.